Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am Dana. This week is going to be fun. I'm excited. Now, today was a stressful day. We're not going to lie. For a lot of football players, they lost their jobs today, and that's sad, and we are sorry. And hopefully they'll come back up and get picked back up again. But we're going to talk about it. So joining me tonight, I'm very excited. We have Sonia is here with us again. And then we have if you guys don't know Michelle by now, you're going to, because we grab her every chance we can get to have her come on. Miss Michelle Jinks, so excited to have you guys here with me. Sonia, how was your weekend?
My weekend was good. It was good. I was working, but it was a good weekend. It was one of those steady weekends.
Yeah.
Not too busy.
That's when you work. When you work in healthcare, weekends are always in place. So it's just the way it is, for sure. And Michelle, it's so lovely to see your face. The last couple of times you've been on, I haven't been on. So I'm so glad that we finally get to talk.
You know, I thought you didn't want to talk to me anymore. Like, where's Dana?
Come on, you're crazy. You're my favorite. All right, so tonight we're gonna talk about a whole bunch of stuff tonight, you guys. We're gonna talk about roster cut surprises. We're gonna talk about quarterbacks for a minute, which every week we talk about quarterbacks. It seems like, and Lisa would be thrilled, but she's not here tonight. And then we're gonna pull a couple more teams out of the hat. Now Michelle doesn't know this game, but she's gonna learn really quick on the fly.
And she's gonna love it.
That's right. So that's what we have. This hat. It's right here. And in there's the name of every single team except for the ones that we did last week. And no matter what team we pull out of that hat, we have to defend and tell you why they are going to the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter if it's the Jets, the Giants, or Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You have to defend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's all for fun. So people keep that in mind. Don't get worked up like you did last week. So, all right. I want to start tonight out, though, you guys, with something a little more somber. And I'm sorry about that. Oh, wait, no. See, look, I almost did it because Lisa wasn't here. Donkeys. I want to thank Donkey's Place, our sponsor for our podcast. This is the second year Donkey's Place has sponsored us. They have 3 locations in New Jersey, in Medford, Mount Holly, and Camden. I didn't even need to write that down. I remembered it now. They're the best cheesesteaks in New Jersey, you guys. So we appreciate them sponsoring us again this year. So go check them out. Let them know that we sent you. Okay, now I have to get into something a little more somber. Something very shocking and tragic happened this week in the football world. And I'm not sure that the average football fan would actually understand the impact that this had, but the Miami Dolphins, they tragically lost Jason Jenkins this weekend. He was the Senior Vice President of Communications and Community Affairs. Now, front office people, very important to the team, but what you saw online was an outpouring of love and support for his family and for the team from all across football, every team, and there's a reason for that. Jason Jenkins was, honest to God, one of the kindest people I've ever met, and I was very lucky to meet him a few years back. The Dolphins put on an event for media, and Lisa, of course, got to go because, you know, she's always part of the Dolphins media. But he very kindly told her to bring me along. And so the two of us went. They treated us like queens all weekend. We had a great time, even though I'm not a Dolphins fan. They were very nice to me. But Jason went out of his way to come and find us and talk to us. And the reason that he did that was that Jason Jenkins was the first football anything, head of media, any team rep, no matter what, the first person in the NFL to acknowledge Our Turf Football as a media site. Mm-hmm. He went to Lisa. He said, I love what you're doing. And I know how hard it can be to get your foot in the door, and I want to give you your foot in the door. And we will be forever grateful to him for that. He was a huge supporter of Lisa and everything that she did and of us and what we represented and brought to the table. And so we're heartbroken. I'm not going to lie. He was beloved across the league. I think we forget sometimes that while football feels so big to us, the actual world of football itself is quite small. And there's only 32 quarterbacks, only 32 head coaches, only so many front office people. And so it's a very tight-knit world. And Jason was definitely beloved. So our condolences go out to his wife and his children and to the whole Miami Dolphins family. So he will be greatly missed. Okay, so that out of the way, let's talk about some ridiculousness. I read today on Twitter, and I want someone to tell me if I'm right or wrong, that the Dallas Cowboys only kept one quarterback. That cannot be true. Sonia, you were going to look it up. Is it true?
It is on DallasCowboys.com. It says, don't look now, but there's only one quarterback on the roster in Dallas.
Spandau Ballet. It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Here's the thing. We know it's not going to stay
There's
that
only
way.
one
Obviously, they're going to go find someone, and maybe they had their eye on someone who was going to get cut. Who is it? You know, who is that going to be? But Michelle, I'm so glad that you're here, because even if you knew that you had someone else in mind, don't you want a quarterback on a practice squad somewhere? Don't you want a little depth in that room? This is classic Jerry to me. You have to explain this to me, Michelle.
I can't explain Gary, but here's the thing. I believe, I'm reading that Cooper Rush, they'll probably keep him around because, Jerry's loyal and Cooper Rush has been with us for a while. And, I personally like Will Grier. I think we should have kept him. I think when I watched the games and I saw Will out of the backup quarterbacks, he was the better of the two or three that we had. Cooper hasn't showed me anything in the years that he's been there, and I just think that Will's a better quarterback. But I have no idea what's in the mindset of the Cowboys. I think they're going to bring Cooper Rush back. He'll probably be on the practice squad or the third string, so they obviously must have their eye on someone. It's someone that they're trying to get. Maybe who knows? Maybe they're gonna have a trade. Maybe they get Gorgeous. I have no idea, but I'm just thinking that I try not to stress myself out with thinking what they're doing, because Dakota did have an injury last year. Well, he came back from an injury, so you never know. With the way the league is, I believe like you have to keep 3 quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Seriously.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you completely. I was really surprised when I saw that, just because I thought even if you just keep someone you're not going to love or want necessarily, it's just insurance. I put that up there already, but Graham says Jerry's going to be QB2. Okay, I would pay for that. I would pay for that ticket.
He may as well. I believe him, Graham.
I would pay for that ticket for sure. Well, yeah, that's going to be interesting. I'm sure that they have something up their sleeve, but Jerry Jones is just Jerry Jones all the time. I don't know what the heck he's doing. All right. But speaking of gorgeous, as Michelle likes to call him, let's talk about Jimmy G for a minute. It was announced today that the San Francisco 49ers, after all the drama, after all the BS that they threw around forever, all of the he's not allowed in the practice room, he can't have a playbook, all the crap, they turned around and re-signed him. Now, I will say this. Earlier in the year, Shanahan did say, if we can't trade him, we're not cutting him. Nobody believed it. Nobody. Why would you keep that money? On the books. They didn't. For some reason, Jimmy Garoppolo agreed to a 1-year new contract. Jimmy, if I was your agent, my head would be exploding. Here's the thing. He has a new contract, 1 year, completely controls his own fate next year. No trade clause. So that means if he does get traded, he gets to decide where he's going. But it's a $7 million deal, 6.5 guaranteed. I think he can make up to 10 if he's the starter. What? If I were Trey Lance, I'd be livid.
I would be.
Even though supposedly he's like, great, that dude's awesome. Whatever, kid. I'm just telling you, it was crazy. Sonia, I can't think, unless they just are not convinced that Lance is the guy. Why would you keep Jimmy G there?
I guess they're kind of like giving him a trial period, if you will. And so maybe just gonna see how he does during the season, maybe the first quarter of the season, and see if he really is who they want to be their quarterback. Kind of an insurance policy, I think. But as always, we need to be like Jimmy G. I need to be a backup quarterback somewhere, guys. That's just what I need to do. But no, I think he's.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think you're right on that. I think that you're right. I think that this could be the other logical is that nobody even called. No one picked up the phone and said, hey, the minute you're cut, we're coming after you, which is illogical to me. New York Giants. If it's illogical to me, I can't, I don't understand that.
Houston Texans.
Right. Oh, I don't know. I kind of like Davis, but the disaster in New York. So why? This is a quarterback. Michelle, I'm going to hand this to you. This is a quarterback who, let's be honest, has not been available much. He's injured often, and yet managed to take his team to a Super Bowl and to an NFC championship when he managed to make it all the way through. There was a lot of question marks last year when they brought Trey Lance in. They moved up to get him. And yet Jimmy G responded to that. Jimmy came out and took them down the field, took them the length of the season. I don't understand, one, why the team would just bail like that, but that's a Shanahan thing, I guess. And two, why wouldn't other teams be somewhat interested in him?
I don't think, even despite them going to the championship, I just think individually Jimmy just didn't show enough for other teams to want him. In today's age, I mean, is he much better than your backup? That's the question. And for the money that you're going to pay him. For San Francisco, I think it's not Jimmy that's under trial, is more of Trey. Yes, they say they believe in him, and yes, he's the starter, and yes, but they still don't know. And so they won't know that until they play about 4 or 5 games. And what better insurance to have than to have someone who, like you said, that just took us to the championship game. We can get to the championship. Can he win it for us? Who knows? Maybe we can have some packages and play both of them down the stretch. But I think it's more of one person maybe wanting Trey to start and the other is not. So that's a coach and GM. Who knows what that is? But they're gonna put him out there, and if he's not ready, they can always go back to Jimmy. For Jimmy, it's a trial within himself because nobody wanted him. So now he may have the opportunity to go out there and prove, I'm better than what I was. I was injured a lot. I came back from injury. I can play better. You guys seen me play in New England. You've seen me take this team to the championship. I can play. And so for him, he's hoping that he'll still get that opportunity unless somebody has something up his sleeve and he's going somewhere else.
And I do think that is a question. Are the San Francisco 49ers holding on to him, making his contract much more tradable, let's be honest with you? Mm-hmm. And if the right team came to them because their quarterback went down, yep. I mean, any of the majors, right? Any of the big players in the league, if they came to them and said, the Eagles, Jalen Hurts went down, we want to trade for Jimmy G, and he agrees, as long as it's the right team, it does gives Jimmy some control there. So I get mm-hmm. that. I watched him play a lot being in this division, and yes, he's an average quarterback. There's no question. There's a lot of average quarterbacks in this league. So I find that's really interesting to me. Sonia, how long will it take? How many bad games in a row will it take for this fan base to start screaming for Jimmy over Trey? 2 in a row?
2 games. Yep, 2 bad games in a row. I mean, heck, if we're going to be honest, maybe like a half of a game. We don't have a lot of patience these days and times. But I think for sure 2 games. Give them 2 bad games and they'll be calm for them.
Yeah. The 49er fan base meltdown on Twitter when this was announced was fascinating, because you had a really large group of people who are like, hell yes, I wanted to hold on to him anyway. And the rest are like, oh my God, what are we doing? And it was chaos. And I don't know. It was enjoyable. just
I was about to say you were loving it, and
Well, no, I mean, there's quite a few of those 49ers fans that I really enjoy, but it was just so funny to see the dichotomy between the two going back and forth, and that's just football fandom, I guess.
Nothing is better than fandom meltdowns. I swear.
Oh my God, it's the greatest.
It is so true. God, it's fun. Right, really good rivalries and complete meltdowns. Love them on Twitter. That's what, and I always say this app is free. I'm just shocked, but it's so fun. All right, now let's move on. Today was the day that all NFL teams had to be down to a 53-man roster. They've been kind of working their way down over the last few weeks. Some made a few cuts yesterday, but the majority of them came out today. And to the point where I had the Archer Football Twitter today. I just gave up trying to keep up. I'm just like, go watch the trackers, people. I can't even keep up. They were coming so fast and furious. There were a few that surprised me, but I don't think there was any shocking ones this year necessarily yet. We have to remember that this is still a fluid situation. But there were some that were surprising. Sonia, were there any that caught you off guard?
There weren't any surprising cuts or anything like that, but I think just the Eagles trading for Chauncey Gardner-Jackson. I think that was, or Johnson, I'm sorry. I think that was probably a big surprise to me anyways. I think that's going to make them pretty daggone good this year. But again, it's the NFC East. Anything can happen. But I was very surprised by that move.
I will tell you that one that surprised me a little, but then I reasoned my way through it, was Alex Leatherwood. The Raiders cut him. He was their first-round pick just last year, just a year ago. Yeah. And they're instantly like, he's a bust. He's out of here. And I was like, how can you know? I mean, there's bad play, yes. But think of all the crap that team went through last year. And the coaching changes and the losing of the two players in his draft class, for off the field issues, all of the stuff that went on with the Raiders last year. But they looked at this guy and said, you know what? He's so bad. We got to get rid of him now. That was really, really surprising to me. I don't know. I would love for someone to look this up out there in Twitter or wherever it is. Look this up. I don't think there's another first-round pick that got cut that fast. I mean, it's not that he was so fantastic or he was going like the standout star. It was just so quick, but maybe he just wasn't who. And this is how I reasoned my way through it. He just wasn't who this new current coach wanted. This is not who McDaniels wanted. This is not who he wanted on his team. It just really surprised me that they didn't give him that second year to make the jump. I don't know. It was really baffling to me. Any others, you guys?
I'm surprised that Dallas cut Carlos Watkins, and we thought that he would probably contribute a lot this season to our defense. I'm still surprised that Anthony Brown hasn't been cut. And I say this every year. I'm always waiting to see when he's going to be released, but he never is. So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't any really big names or anybody that, people thought was going to do this and do that, and they were cut. I mean, I think the biggest news is what you started out with, a team that keeps one quarterback. I think that is something that's out of this world. So I think that overshadows anything else that they've done to do that. But yeah, I don't think it was any big cuts. Really.
I think
I was trying to look. I mean, I just, Carlos.
I think the only other one that some people were surprised at was maybe Tony Jefferson out of Baltimore. Had been there, long-term vet, had been there for quite a while. I know Mr. Honey Badger was real upset. And all of a sudden, everyone thought he was getting cut from the Saints because he's talking about, youth over experience and blah, blah. So everyone's like, are you leaving? He's like, I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about my friend in Baltimore. So I think that was really the only other one I saw a lot of. There was a couple special teams players. I know one here in Kansas City that was really well. And then, of course,
Howard. Yeah,
Huh?
OJ Howard was cut
Yeah.
from Buffalo.
From
Yeah.
Buffalo.
And then Josh Gordon was cut from the Kansas City Chiefs. And there was this dude on Twitter, and I call him a dude because that's all I could think of when I was talking to him, because he was going off. He's like, because I posted a picture. Josh had posted a picture of Arrowhead Stadium and was like, adversity brings new opportunity or whatever. And so I just posted it. And he's like, what's any different than the 6 times he got, suspended, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, I saw way more people feeling for Josh than I did people being detractors of him. And I think this is it. We all know the NFL screwed him. We all know that his punishments for weed, especially looking at everything that's happened this year, that was out of line and out of control. And we get that those were the rules at the time, but they took his best years from him. And that, I think, was what resonates with people with Gordon, is that he's like that lost player, what could have been. And so that, I think that's why people get sad about him. I don't know that he'll get picked up on another team. He really hasn't been able to perform, but I hope he stays in football because that really seems to help him kind of stay focused. So, but more importantly than anything, you guys, we have to remember that these players, they just lost their jobs and they're hoping to get picked up on another one. And this is their dream. And so I always say, put your kindergarten teacher hat on and remember to say kind words, not mean words first, because it's very heartbreaking for them,
Right.
for lack of a better term. So
Mhm.
for sure. All right. Yeah. As Graham says, God bless the NFL punishment structure. No doubt. Oh my gosh. Okay. So let's move on. Okay, Michelle, this is the rules.
Uh-oh. Is
We
this the
have
hat
the
thing?
hat.
Yes.
We have the She Knows Routes hat. Thank you very much, Cam Newton. I'm going to say that every single time. And in there last week, we had the name of all 32 teams. And I picked it randomly out of the hat. And the person who got it had to tell us why this team was going to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
No matter
my
what the
goodness.
team is, you have to get up there and say why you're going to. Sonia got a really easy one last week. She got the Broncos. I'm hoping she gets a harder one this time.
Watch me get
That was
the
too
Lions.
easy. But we're going to keep going through this until we go through every single team. And you know why?
It's gonna be
We're
fun.
beacons.
So
of
we
positivity.
just go through till we go through all of them?
No, we're just going to pick one for you this week. We're going to do this. We're going to do this over the whole season. So we're going to just keep rolling. So you're just going to get one today, Michelle. So who wants to go first?
Well, let our
I'm a
guest
guess.
go
I
first.
guess I'll go.
Yes, you go first. And
Please
it can
don't
be
let
as
it be the
silly
Cowboys.
as
Please
you
don't.
want.
Well, that's right up my alley.
It's the Falcons. You need to tell us why the Falcons.
Wait, let me
Going
see who's
to
on the
Super
Falcons
Bowl.
team. Let me just look it up.
Marcus Mariota is their quarterback.
Yes, thank you. So
Say no more.
I get to say why the Falcons are going to go to the Super Bowl.
You
Sonya
do.
just said it. Marcus Mariota. I mean, look at him. Did you see when he got on the field in Tennessee? I mean, the guy, he's absolutely rejuvenated from his early years. I mean, he looks like the guy from Hawaii. We're ready to go. I think the Falcons, I mean, you got to look at it. The Falcons were in the Super Bowl just a few years ago, and nobody's ever going to let them forget that infamous comeback by Tom Brady. So I think that in their division, I mean, they can maybe win the division if they can upset Tampa Bay twice. I mean, I think if they do that twice, they win the division. And once you get into the playoffs, who knows? But I believe that Marcus has 5 games in him, 5 more games than what they had last year. So it's, NFL is any given Sunday. So I have no doubt that the Falcons can get to the Super Bowl. They can win a division. We don't know what Brady's going to be. He has some issues. He's been out for 11 days for God knows
He
what.
has issues, all right.
But
They
11
just didn't
days.
want to be there.
Marcus has a big tight end and a big, they threat. I mean, I think the Falcons can make it. Bring these dirty birds back.
I love it. This
We're
is
ready.
exactly what I wanted from this segment.
Yes.
Pure positivity. We want every fan base to hear some positivity. Love it, Michelle. Good job. Love it. All right, Sonia.
Falcons.
Here we go.
Oh God! Why do you keep getting these teams? The Bills.
What?
I know it's complete crap.
It's finally their year, guys. It's finally their year. Josh Allen is going to get it together. I mean, heck, they were right there last year. They were right there. Josh Allen's going to bring it together. Stephon Diggs, those two, it's their year. Their defense is going to be killer. It's their year. It's their year.
Well, I just want to
That's
remind you
why.
that's exactly what I said last year.
I know.
It was almost there.
But they just needed that one little just to get that close again. They're so close. They are so close. And I think that
You know what
this
they needed?
could be there. What?
They needed Von Miller. Guess
Von
what
Miller.
they got?
They got Von Miller.
Right.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right. They got
And
Von
guess where
Miller.
he wanted to go?
Yeah. Don't blame him. You know, it's so
Yes.
funny. Things happen at the beginning of the offseason and we get excited about them. And then I kind of forget, like researching the draft
I
and doing all
just
that
forgot
stuff.
about that.
And then I was going through stuff. I'm like, oh, Von Miller. Oh, where'd she go? She pushed the wrong button. Von Miller is in Buffalo. I
Right.
completely forgot.
That
I
is
love it.
why they're going.
That's
I
right.
forgot about him. He's going. That's why they're going.
All right.
Von Miller.
Michelle probably pushed the wrong button. She does that sometimes. She'll be back. All right, here's mine.
Drum roll.
The Colts.
Ah,
I got kicked out. I'm
Colts.
sorry.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's all right. I got the Colts.
Oh, wow.
Now, listen, I don't think this is so hard, to be quite
No.
honest with you. The Colts have managed to put together a little roster. And for the same reason that the Falcons are rejuvenated, the Colts are rejuvenated. Why is that? They brought in some Mr. Matt Ryan. They already had a really good team set up. They just needed a couple more pieces, and getting rid of Carson Wentz was one of them. And so they bring in Matt Ryan. Sorry, I mean, no disrespect, but it just wasn't working out. So
They have a great defense.
they do. They have a great defense. I think they have some good weapons. They have my favorite running back. I do not get in fantasy football. Oh, don't get me started. And then I think that with the experience of Matt Ryan, having gone to the Super Bowl and lost in such a horrid fashion, he's ready. He wants to make his mark. He wants people to remember who he was outside of that Super Bowl. The Colts are going to the Super Bowl. They're going to win it. I'm very excited for them. They're going to beat Buffalo in the AFC Championship. There, I said it. Just said it. If that comes true, somebody owes me $100. I'm just letting you know. But
We're marking that down. Graham, you
Mark
have
it
that?
down.
Graham's going to write it down. Because Graham did say in our chat here that he refuses to live in a world where Buffalo wins
The Super Bowl. So Graham's got
Graham's
this.
a Dolphins fan, guys, in case you're curious.
I see Graham had on a Dolphin jersey.
Yeah, he does. He is so. All right, you guys, that means we are 7 teams down. We're just going to keep drawing out of this hat. It's just sitting here on my desk. I'm not messing with it. I swear. It's always random, but it's a lot of fun. And to be honest with you, the whole point of this segment is to remind us that, much like Michelle said, any given Sunday, because there's always one that goes from worst to first, as we saw hello Cincinnati last year. Who saw that coming? But I think more importantly, that every team has positive pieces.
Yes.
No matter how much it hurts us to say it, every team has some positive pieces. So, all right, we're going to continue that again next week. All right, so our last segment for today.
I like that segment, by the way. I just want to let you guys know.
Oh, thanks.
You're
I
welcome.
think it's fun.
It's fun.
Michelle likes my ideas. I love it. All right. For our last segment today, though, we're going to talk about week 1. Now, most people will be like, Dana, you should wait till next week to talk about week 1. No, my friends. Next week is the Pick'em show. Our big, huge Pick'em extravaganza is next week. It takes us an hour or more sometimes to get through it. We pick every division, who's going to win it, who's going to lose it, what order they're going to be in. We pick the divisional game. We take the divisional winners, the AFC and NFC championship winners, and if you want to, the Super Bowl winner. It's not required, but we do usually throw it in there. It's a lot of fun. And we go out into the community. We get people's, thoughts. We put up polls. There's going to be a lot of polls this next week, you guys. You got to vote. So I'm excited for that. But it's going to be a lot of fun. So this week, we're going to take a minute because we won't have time next week to talk about the first week of the season. Now, the NFL tried real hard for some serious drama in week 1. And I don't think they realized how much drama they were getting. But then when it happened, they doubled down. Like they were all about it. There's some crazy games going on.
And I'm involved in 2 of them.
You are?
Uh-oh.
Oh my, I love that. So I asked these guys to each pick their favorite or their best match, which they think is going to be the best matchup for week 1. I also let them know that I was not picking the Seahawks and the Broncos, that if someone else wanted it, it was all theirs, because I was not doing it. Not doing it. I got to watch
it. It's on my list.
But so I'm going to go ahead. Sonia, I'm going to start with you. When you're looking at week 1 and some of these great matchups that are going on, what games stick out to you?
Oh, because I see it when I'm driving on 75 in my new slightly hometown. It's going to be Saints and Falcons, y'all. We're starting off with some drama. And those 2 teams do not like each other. I mean, we all know this. But that is going to bring it. And, what a great way to kick off the season with a big rivalry. I love it. That's going to bring it. And it's just going to be fun. And we'll get to see the new Marcus Mariota going up against Jameis Winston. And
who's
so, the former Heisman. Right. Exactly. So that's my game.
I will say that is one of my favorite rivalries in football. If you guys are disconnected from other teams, which most people are pretty connected now because of fantasy football, which is wonderful. But if you do nothing else, week 1, just go look at the hashtags between the Saints and the Falcons. It's nasty, y'all. Those fans are mean. Like, I've seen some gross rivalries, the Browns and the Steelers and the Ravens and the Steelers, everybody in the Steelers. And then, Seattle and San Francisco.
They're almost as bad as the NFC East, but.
Oh, my Lord. The Falcons and the Saints go off. Those fans are so fun. So I encourage you guys, go check them out. It is a good time.
It's going down.
Michelle, which games are you involved in? You said you're involved in 2.
Well, I say that because, I could go Tampa Bay, Dallas, and then I thought about, of course, my favorite player who is now with the Denver Broncos. So, I was Denver, Seattle. There's Buffalo, the Rams. But this is where I'm going. Cleveland versus Carolina, because Baker is holding the book club and he is going to do against his own team. And I'm right here in Carolina, so I know they are excited for this game. And that's my game of the week. Cleveland versus Carolina. Baker was like gorgeous. Nobody wanted him. And then he got a team. And now he gets to face the team that let him go. And boy, he's looked pretty good in the preseason. He's motivated. I mean, and then his backup Sam got hurt, injured, and that made it a lot easier. So no pressure. Just go out there and play. So I'm excited to see that game. I really am.
I can't wait to watch that game, especially after Baker's comments. I don't know if it was yesterday or today. That said, he's like, I'm going to go in there and F him up. I was like, ooh.
And that's an emotional boy. That is one emotional player.
Miles Garrett said, yeah, we know that's how he is. And we expect that from him, but we can do just the same. And I'm like, no, he has to have some friends left on that team. You can't tell me that Baker alienated everyone. I don't believe that at all. And so it is going to be interesting because let's be honest, like or dislike Baker Mayfield, that team did him dirty. The Browns, this was just the screwed up offseason in all aspects for the Browns, but that was nasty. And so the way that they treated him was just unkind. And so I feel like, and yeah, people are like, it's all business. No, this had that element of that was just, it wasn't good. It wasn't cool. But so I can't wait for him to take out all of that anger on that team.
At least in the first quarter, and then we'll see what happens.
Right. And then he's going to calm down a little bit. The interesting thing is this would have been a very different game had they not, traded for a slime ball quarterback. And so now he gets Jacoby Brissett, who I really like. But he still wants to go out there and beat that team. And to be honest with you, depending on how Jacoby plays, he could beat that team. Right. So it could be real interesting for sure.
Mhm.
All right. We don't even have to talk about, okay, we get it. The Seahawks, Broncos, we get it. We get it. We get it. All right. We're just going to let that go. Thank God it's week 1, so we never have to talk about it again. That's all I want to say. I will tell you, I am so excited for this Rams-Bills game. And I think it is just because when you have 2 massive powerhouses like that to kick off the season, to just start it out, these guys, the Bills are still pissed from the Chiefs game back in the playoffs and what happened there. And the Rams were like, thank God, the Bills lost, because they would have ended up playing them in the Super Bowl had the Bills, Cincinnati would not have beaten Buffalo. I'm just going to put that out there. I really don't think they would have. So I think that this is probably the Super Bowl that should have been. And so I am very excited to see it. I'm very excited to go just to sit down on that Thursday and watch this game and watch these two just absolutely knock the crap out of each other. Because I think that's what's going to happen. I think we're going to have some nice offense. It's going to be good. Matt's going to look okay, even with his wonky elbow. And, Josh Allen's going to Josh Allen, but I can't wait to watch these defenses. I think it's going to be super fun. So I'm really excited. But you guys, that's not even all of them. The Steelers-Bengals game could be real interesting too, depending on how the Bengals come flying out. I look at the Jaguars could start right away with a win. No disrespect to Commanders, but I think with their additions that they've had and their new coach, I really like Doug Peterson. So I think that could be really helpful to them.
Well, I'd definitely be going for the Jaguars this week, but
yeah. And then the Packers-Vikings. And the reason why that game sticks out to me is I don't know that we know what we are going to get from the Packers this year. There's been all this offseason drama, and, Devontae Adams leaving. He was out. It was rough.
And Aaron
Rodgers running
his
his mouth. Like, honest to God, just shut up, dude. Like, keep your head down and shut up. He just makes it worse. He digs his grave further down. And then he's talking all kinds of crap about the wide receivers that he does have.
Right.
That dude, I'm telling you, Michelle, he makes me take deep breaths because he drives me crazy.
But, you know how I feel about Aaron.
I know.
I do.
But no.
Why don't you let our listeners know how you feel about Aaron?
I love Aaron.
I know you do.
Why? Why?
I love Aaron. And with all his attitude and everything, I love it.
I think the thing that is maybe throwing everybody off, he's like, this guy knows. I think is that he was so quiet for so long, and now maybe he's in full-on screw-up mode. I'm at the end of my career. I don't care if I get in trouble, kind of a thing.
I was about to say, Greg calls it.
That's how he looks when he shows up. So
yeah, but no, Greg was saying he's got FU money now, so he's just letting it go.
Yeah,
right.
That sounds about right.
And I have a feeling he's going to be a bit like Jay Cutler. When he's done with football, we will never see him again. He's out. He'll come to the Hall of Fame and he'll get his Hall of Fame jacket, and then he's out again. I think he will disappear into the sunset. Unlike that other quarterback down in Florida. So we will see. We're stuck with Tom Brady for life. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a good week 1. I'm real excited. Except for that last game.
I'm
excited. I'm always excited week 1. I'm ready.
Lots of good divisional matchups weekend. So that's probably going to be really cool too.
They went out with a bang for sure, or started out of the gate with a bang. Like I said, they have a good time making those schedules. So again, everyone, next week is our Pick'em show. Please join us. We have a great time. I want everyone who watches us on Twitter, most people watch us on Twitter. I want you next week to just click the link to YouTube, come over and join our live chat, especially during Pick'em week. We want your opinions. As you can see, we pop up people's thoughts. Look here, I'm going to put Camden's up here, even though that bothers me, Camden. I don't like it. It's just gross. That's the worst let's ride ever. Don't do it, Russ. But I think that it's so much more fun when we have people in our chat talking with each other, talking with us. We would love to hear your opinions. So everyone who watches us over on Twitter, come over and chat with us. We love it. So we will be back again with the Big Pick'em Show. Tuesday, 8 p.m., like every week. It's the same time, same place. As you can see on your screen, you can follow Sonia at Mom23RN and Michelle at the Sports Janks, because she's the best. So you should follow her too. So, all right, everyone, we'll see you next week. Have a great